Hello and welcome to WMLT News. I'm Bailey Gillespie. President Barack Obama announced in a televised speech on Monday night that control of the Libyan no-fly zone and further military action would soon be turned over to NATO. The president says that the United States has unique capabilities that were required to create the no-fly zone, and that while the U.S. would continue to support the democratic aspirations of Libyans, the U.S. will not control the mission. Early Tuesday, Gaddafi's forces pushed back the Libyan rebels into a full retreat after firing tanks and rockets. Analysts have said that a more organized and better equipped rebels force will be necessary to oust Gaddafi. Japan vowed Tuesday to overhaul a nuclear safety standards once its radiation leaking reactor complex is under control. The Japanese government admitted that the safeguards in place prior to March 11 tsunami were insufficient. The struggle to contain radiation at the Fukushima Daiichi complex continued earlier today, with 2 workers being drenched with radioactive water. An AP investigation found that Tokyo Power Electric Company officials has dismissed scientific evidence in geological history that indicated a major earthquake or tsunami was far more likely than they believed. Recently, Johnson & Johnson have recalled more than 700,000 bottles and packages of Tylenol and other medicines made at the plant that was closed in April of 2010 in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. Johnson & Johnson's McNeil Consumer Healthcare Unit recalled one group of Tylenol 8-hour extended-release capsules, almost 35,000 bottles, from retailers. The reason for these recalls have been a musty odor coming from the bottle, which has prompted many more recalls from Johnson & Johnson. In the recall, McNeil said that the company was taking precautions after a review of records found instances where equipment cleaning procedures were insufficient or cleaning was not adequately documented. It was said that it's unlikely to have hurt product quality. Johnson & Johnson have recalled more than 300 million bottles and packages in the past 15 months. This has affected Johnson & Johnson's reputation and pursued its share price and sparked congressional investigations. One of the last silver screen legends has died. A 3-time Academy Award-winning actress, Elizabeth Taylor, passed away in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center on March 23rd due to congestive heart failure. Taylor graced the screen in such classics as A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Butterfield 8, a role that earned her one of 2 Best Actress Oscars. Her much publicized life included 8 marriages, a line of jewelry and fragrances, and several decades as a social activist campaigning the cause of AIDS awareness. In recent years, Taylor was plagued by the illness but continued to campaign her causes till her death. Taylor was buried in private Jewish ceremony in Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, the same mausoleum that her longtime friend Michael Jackson was. At Taylor's request, her funeral service started 15 minutes late, and it is said that Taylor wanted people to say, quote, "She even wanted to be late for her own funeral," end quote. Taylor was 79 years old. The West Virginia Turnpike is getting a facelift. Plans to completely resurface the West Virginia Turnpike will begin this spring and summer. After increasing tolls in 2009, the Parkways Authority has taken an estimated $20 million per year that will be used to start deferred maintenance to the highway. Southbound lanes from mileposts 48 to 42 towards Princeton will account for most of the work in the months ahead. The plan estimates that the highway will be completely pre-surfaced by 2019, and each year after it will be resurfaced to preserve the highway. Here's Nathan Altair with this week's Concord Minute.
Thanks, Bailey. This week, Senator Ron Miller is supposed to make an appearance at Concord's weekly SGA meeting, which is held at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays in the stateroom in the Student Center. Senator Miller is attending the meeting because he was unable to meet with Concord's Higher Education Committee when it traveled to Charleston for Higher Education Day in West Virginia. Most colleges and universities in West Virginia sent representatives to Charleston for Higher Education Day in order to discuss concerns and progress in the higher education system. The second annual Spanish Language Film Festival ended last week. The festival's theme was Hopes, Dreams, and Realities. telling the story of Hispanic youth through film. 4 films were shown, including El Laberinto de Fauno, or Pan's Labyrinth, La Niña, The Maid, La Vida Loca, The Crazy Life, and Cativa, Captive. These movies were shown throughout the week and were only shown in Spanish with English subtitles. There is a significant increase in the number of attendees this year, and Professor of Spanish Dr. Matthew Edwards hopes that this trend continues throughout the years. That's all for this week's Concord Minute. Back to you, Bailey.
Stay tuned. We'll return with more WMLT news in just a moment. Here's Alicia Evans with Take It or Leave It.
Beastly is an eye-catching new film that will catch the interest of viewers who look for romantic dramas. This modern take on the classic story, Beauty and the Beast, features some familiar faces, like High School Musical's Vanessa Hudgens and Mary-Kate Olsen. Alex Pettifer, who plays Kyle Kingston, is an attractive bully who soon learns a lesson. After being stripped of his naturally good looks and lucky lifestyle, Kyle learns that he must find true love in order to be turned back into his normal self. He faces many different challenges, like being kicked out of his house, to losing all that he has in order to discover his true love. This is a must-see film that will intrigue you and bring you a more modern view of the classic Beauty and the Beast film. And if you're looking for a darker movie, then Red Riding Hood is right for you. This Red Riding Hood is a new take on a darker version of the original childhood story. This version is set in a small medieval village of Daggerhorn that has been haunted by a werewolf for decades. That wolf has started killing residents in the village again after many years of taking just animal sacrifices. Amanda Seyfried plays Valerie, who is in a love triangle with her longtime love, the woodcutter Peter, played by Shiloh Fernandez, and is engaged to be married to a wealthy blacksmith's son, Henry, played by Max Irons, in order to pay back her father's debt to Henry's father. In order to marry her love, Valerie plans to run away with Peter until she finds that her sister Lucy has been killed by the wolf. To find out who Valerie ends up with and who the wolf is, head to the movies and find out. That's it for this week's Ticket or Leave It. Back to you at the desk.
Here's Shane Burris with sports.
Thanks, Bailey. Concord's men's golf team is currently ranked #1 in the NCAA Division II Atlantic Region poll as voted by a panel of the region's coaches. As defending region champions, the team has high expectations, and after a solid victory in the Concord Invitational on March 19th and 20th, they are off to a good start. The baseball team was able to add 2 more wins to their record this past weekend as they took 2 of 3 games against Salem International. Concord won both games in Saturday's doubleheader but failed to complete the sweep on Sunday as a late rally by Salem put the game out of reach. Overall, it was a high-scoring weekend here at Anderson Field, with the games finishing 12-11, 12-2, and 16-11. The Mountain Lions' record is once again approaching 500 as they are 10-12 and ranked 5th in the WVX South. And the softball team fought out a win against WVU Tech last Wednesday, breaking a 4-game losing streak by winning a close game 6-5 before thunderstorms cut the would-be doubleheader short. 2 days later, they played Kentucky State University in another doubleheader that would be cut short due to weather. This time, however, it was due to snow. The Lady Lions defeated KSU 14-4 in the first game, but as the snow continued to fall, the Thoroughbreds, who had several girls battling upper respiratory problems, decided to forfeit the second game. The girls' overall record is a respectable 11-14, but having dropped all 6 of their conference games, they currently rank dead last in the WVAC. For Concord Sports, I'm Shane Burris, and now we send you to our second installment of the March Madness special segment. Here's Brett Dodrell.
Thanks, Shane. It is anything but business as usual in the NCAA tournament this year. Among the many shockers of the tournament thus far, all 4 #1 seeds have been eliminated. Overall #1 seed Ohio State made their exit in the Sweet 16 to the SEC champion Kentucky Wildcats, while Duke was eliminated by the other Wildcat team in the field, Arizona. Pittsburgh was put out by the defending national runner-up, the Butler Bulldogs, who then rolled on to victories over the higher-seeded Wisconsin Badgers and Florida Gators. However, the news of the tournament thus far has been the Virginia Commonwealth Rams, who are seeded 11th in the Southwest Regional. Not only are they still alive in the tournament, they had to play a play-in game to even be an official part of the field of 64. Since the tournament began, they have defeated USC, Georgetown, Purdue, Florida State, and perhaps the biggest shocker of them all, the #1 seeded Kansas Jayhawks, to play their way into the school's first ever Final Four. The tournament continues on April 2nd with the Final Four matchups. The Kentucky Wildcats will play the Connecticut Huskies in a matchup of perennial powers, while the Cinderella story of VCU and Butler continues. This means that for the second straight year, there will be a huge underdog in the championship. So will this be the year that Cinderella finally gets her slipper, or will the usual suspects reign supreme once again? Tune in on April 2nd to find out. With your tournament update, I'm Brett Dodrell with sports. Back to you, Bailey.
Recently, the Student Activities Committee held a fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Travis Sims has more.
This week, the Student Activities Committee is hosting quite the unconventional fundraiser for Relay for Life. Let's head inside the Student Center to find out what's going on. All right, I am here with Matt Morgan. Matt, won't you tell us a little bit about what's going on here at the Relay for Life fundraiser?
What we're doing is all the sports teams committee, we got together and we decided to do a fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it's called Jail and Bail, and students can pay money to put teachers, coaches, other students, and any other faculty member in jail, so to speak.
And how long are they permitted to stay in the jail?
They're in the jail until somebody comes and bails them out, or they pay to get themselves out. It's never really a big reward, $5, $10, $15 at the most.
A little time in jail to help out a good cause, I think it's worth it. Until next time, I'm Travis Sims reporting for WMLT.
Leo's Pub is a tavern that regularly hosts local musicians. Peyton St. Clair has more on this close-to-home tavern.
Music is something we all have in common. We listen to music every day. So when's the last time you went and listened to live music? I ventured out to Leo's Pub and More to hear Ben Thornton. The next day, I had time to sit down and talk with Ben about the local music scene.
Many musicians around the area, there's so much talent just within this small 3-4 county radius that, I'd say 75 to 80% of the population don't even know about, and it's sad because it's some of the best music that you'll ever see live because it's original, it's raw. It's a show that you won't see anywhere else because it's home. It's West Virginia. Everybody listens to music, plays music through iPods, everything else. So why not go out and see what the surrounding area has to offer?
So that's what I did, and I found myself on Mercer Street in the upstairs room where I heard several different genres of music as well as a percussion duet and a little band called
Trash Can Blues.
The upstairs room is host to many local musicians and poets in a turn-of-the-century ballroom with a colorful stage and many couches and comfy chairs. It gives off a real relaxed vibe where many locals take their talent to the stage. Next weekend, instead of sitting home listening to music, come out and see great local acts like Ben Thornton, or grab your guitar and head to the upstairs room on Monday nights. For WMLT News, I'm Trish St. Clair.
That's all for this week's WMLT News from Concord University. Tune in again in 2 weeks. Have a good day.